Let's go ahead and bring in Steiner Sports CEO, Brandon Steiner.
One of the country's top memorabilia moguls.
Hanging out with Krista Rizzo. Why am I yelling? And here's the thing. I mean, at this time of year, you're evaluating, at least I hope you're evaluating your life. And most important thing in your life is your relationships. I mean, that's everything. Show me a wealthy person. Show me a person who's, just filled with relationships. But the question is, and I talk about a lot about this in my new book, Living on Purpose, is, what's the quality of your relationships? And maybe you may be due to kind of work on them. Maybe time to fix them. I call it relationship renegotiate.
That's
I've been married for 30 years, happily. Not sure what that says about my wife. I'm not sure, but we've been hanging in there, and it's not easy. And I met you, I guess about a week ago.
Last week.
Yeah.
We've known each other officially 10 days.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful start to our relationship. She brought me my least favorite snack.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I can take them back. I'll just give them to the boys.
Well, we always talk about gift giving.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that I'm on this healthy thing, and that the cookies is a problem for me because I can't stop eating cookies.
You should eat them.
So, and from Brooklyn, no less. So
well,
this is probably a problem.
I'm from Brooklyn, so they had to bring a little bit of the, neighborhood home.
How to fall in love with her right out of the gate. Brooklyn, cookies, she knows. But why am I yelling? First of all, why that title? Where's that title come from?
That title, so I, about 10 years ago, started writing a blog called Why Am I Yelling? As a partner to a contest entry that I did that Oprah Winfrey was hosting a talk show contest.
Did you win?
No. Did I win? No.
You tried, though.
But my friend Michelle was like, you totally have to do this. So let's think of how we're going to make this happen. So we thought of the show premise and we thought all this stuff and what are we going to call the show? And Why Am I Yelling just kind of stuck in my head. Fast forward to 4 years ago, I quit my corporate job. And I'd been writing the blog the whole time and went into coaching, life coaching as a profession, and decided Why Am I Yelling just kind of works in the whole coaching genre and what I'm doing with my clients. And then I wanted to write a book series. So this is the first one.
Just out a week ago. But the essentials of what you need to have successful maintain all the relationships in your life. And let's get to the important ones, because we all have girlfriends, boyfriends, spouses.
Yeah.
And obviously kids. Does this touch on kids too?
Yep.
So give me a little insight here about why, and first of all, who's this book for? And give me like one main thing that this book is going to help me with in my relationships, because relationships are everything. Is it going to give me a good tip how to be better with my wife?
Sure.
Give me one.
Okay. So this book was born actually out of my son. I was watching him about 2 years ago. He had just gotten his cell phone. We live in New York City, so he takes the train to school every day. He was 10 years old when he started doing that by himself. And we were like, okay, we have to get him a phone, right? So he got the phone over the summer, and now all the girls are texting and all this stuff's going on. And I was like, what is happening? It's got to stop, right? So I was like, wait a minute. This is so strange how kids these days cultivate relationships as opposed to when we were kids, right? We got thrown out of the house in the morning, go find your friends, go play. When my dad would whistle at 6 o'clock time for dinner, that was it, like you come home. Kids these days are not raised like that, right? I mean, we're a testament to that. My kid has a device and we track him all the time. So I was like, I started thinking about how I cultivated relationships as a kid and how you're taught to have relationships by your parents and your coaches and your peers and your counselors and that kind of stuff as you're growing up. And then I thought about how, as we become adults, you can change your mind about how you want to have your relationships. You may have been from troubled background, and a lot of times you're a product of your environment, right? And you can continue that, or you can choose consciously to make a change in your relationships.
But most people don't.
A lot of people do, though. I think
Okay.
especially now that we have tools like this that are available to us, you can see how that happens. So this book starts out with focusing on the most important relationship you're ever going to have, and that's the one that you have with yourself. And I know you talk about that in your book because, living on your, knowing your own destiny and what you want out of your life and your own happiness.
That's the way to get what you want is know what you want.
Yes.
Right?
So that's the first half.
Life's an inside job.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the second half of the book really talks about how to cultivate relationships, how as a parent you can help your kids cultivate their relationships, and, the things that we've learned through them. So I talk about my relationship with my husband, how, finding that person and
How many
really
years you been
making it
married?
work. It'll be 18 in May.
Good for you.
18. We've been together 21 years.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's a long time.
What's the key?
Communication, intimacy, respect, support, boundaries, all the things I talk about in the book. There are 5 essentials.
But you've had your stumbling blocks because
Of course.
anybody after 10, that's when the stumbling blocks start coming, right? That's why I look at it as like,
I have to remember back to 10. I don't know.
That's true too. You got to remember. But the first 10, I'm not saying they're easy because I think the first year is very difficult when you sit down and you have to merge your bank accounts.
Oh, I thought the first year was.
Well,
our first year we got hit with 9/11. So we got married in May. We moved down to the financial center. We lived down there. And on September 11th, my husband works for the news. He was like the only journalist south of the World Trade Center when the whole thing happened. So he was in our apartment when everything happened.
Oh,
so we had to live through that. And then my grandmother got sick. And so like we had all this stuff going on for our first year. So our marriage was fine. It was the peripheral stuff that was hard.
Yeah, well,
but it's a test.
You worked on that together?
It's a test.
That could bring you together too. But I think, like, to me, when you get into the nooks and crannies of the first argument, and you realize that thing you're arguing over, probably something that really happened 10 years ago,
right,
but that was swept under the carpet. Now you're arguing now.
Communication.
I think that's probably one of the bigger keys, I think, in all relationships is do not sweep things under the carpet.
Right, and don't hold a grudge.
Don't hold a grudge. Stay up and keep fighting. Like, if you don't go to bed mad, keep fighting. If you're angry, stay up and stay angry and keep fighting until you resolve your anger and issues. If not, it's going to come up 10 years later.
Yeah, you're
5
right.
years ago when you left that glass in the sink, you've been a slob ever since. I'm like,
the socks. I have the sock issue. I have a husband and 2 boys, and everybody leaves their socks on the damn floor. And it's like, I will walk. Now I just walk past the socks. And nobody says anything. I'm like, there will be a mountain of socks, and there will be no socks in the laundry, and I'm not washing your socks. So pick up the fucking socks.
I
Enough.
remember, you can say the F word on this program, but I just want to say that
Sorry.
I remember I was like 2 a.m. My wife woke me up. I said, "What's wrong?" I just got married. She said, "Were you finished with that glass you left in the sink?" I'm just curious.
That's me.
I'm
I'm terrible.
It's 2 a.m.
Who cares about that?
I've
gotten much better about that.
The glass. I mean, when I grew up in my house, there was no glasses because all of them were in the sink because we had no dishwasher. My mother said, I said to my mom one day, I said, Mom, they have this thing, the dishwasher. You can put all the stuff in there, and it washes everything.
Right.
And she said, what do we need that? We got 3 dishwashers. You and your 2 brothers.
That's right.
No, we never had a dishwasher. So we never really think about like washing the glass out right away. But everybody has their own little peeves, and you got to resolve those. I enjoy my wife's imperfections or the things I don't agree with. I enjoy those. Actually, I look forward to them. I find fun in them. I've actually embraced them. I'd miss them if she didn't act the way she did. Like, we have Thanksgiving.
Yes.
We have people over.
Of course.
I think it's a little early, like around Halloween, to be setting up for Thanksgiving the table.
Yes, I agree.
But she likes to plan and strategize, so we set that table 2-3 weeks ahead of time.
I love it.
I'm asking her, let's go get the chairs. Let's get this table set. Let's do it. We're not having the kids come to the house for Halloween anymore, so let's buy.
So funny.
And I used to get crazy about that. What, we have to set the table
Embrace
now?
it.
I'm embracing it. That's where our thing is, and I got to enjoy it.
But you're right. And that's like, I think that for my husband and myself, we're the same way. Like, he cannot make a decision to save his life.
I think most men.
And I can, like this. So he'll be like, that helmet, maybe we should get that for Wyatt for, his birthday. And
Wyatt, is that your son's name?
Yeah, my older one, yeah.
That's cool. Cool name.
Thank you.
Wyatt.
And I'll be like, okay, well, we should get it. No, let's think about it. And I'm like, well, pull the trigger and just buy it. Like, let's just do this. He has to wait and think about it. I'm a decision maker. Do you like
the fact that your husband doesn't make that many quick decisions? Would you prefer him making those decisions?
No, I think it's a mixture of both. I think it depends on what the decision is. Sometimes it's like, we can be a little bit faster with this. And other times, I think it allows me to step back and appreciate it and take pause and be like, okay, we don't have to bulldoze through everything, because that's I'm like, let's go. My aunt calls me the hurricane, so that's how it works.
Why am I yelling? Why did you write this book? Why?
I wrote this book because I was working with a group of women who wanted to make a change in their relationships, and I had a group coaching course. Is this like a Jerry Maguire thing where all the women sitting in the living room? Yes, they were like, "Show me the money, show me the love."
Do you remember that scene?
Yes.
Though, Jerry Maguire, all the women sitting around,
all sitting around, everyone's crying.
I came to see my wife.
Yes, and everybody started to cry.
You had me at
hello. Yes,
love
Tom
that scene.
Cruise.
I just popped that scene on anyway.
You're hysterical.
I love that movie.
No, I was working with a bunch of women who were making changes in their lives, in their careers, in their relationships, and I just thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a course around it. So I launched a course last year, and it was pretty successful. And I was like, I'm going to write this book. And I'd already started writing the book, and then we kind of shifted the book a little bit, and we added the 5 essentials, and I, did some market research, and like the 5 essentials were literally given to me by my audience. What are the top 5 things you need in your relationships? And these were the top 5 out of probably 50 that came in.
Kind of like the 4 agreements.
Probably.
Love that, but that's a must for every marriage.
Yep.
You got to read the 4 agreements.
I think it's important.
The 4 agreements. I'm thinking if you're married, you haven't read this book. Because the problem is, here's my problem.
What's your problem? We're going to fix it right now.
Everybody spends all this time trying to figure out how to make just 2 more cents, or how to get their tennis game a little better, or how to get their golf handicap up 1.
Yes, and they do not invest in this.
But you don't invest in your marriage?
Yes.
Or how to be a parent, or
right.
how to be a friend?
I agree with you.
This is my problem. And I'm all for getting your handicap down. I'm all for the money grab.
Of course.
Don't ignore this.
No, this is the most important thing.
Because I ask my friends, you ever read the 4 agreements? What's that?
Right.
How are you married or going to stay married and not read the 4 agreements?
Right.
Like, these are the things that...
Yes.
Right? You got to work on this stuff.
Yep.
Do you think that most people don't work on their marriages enough, or don't know how to work on their marriages enough?
I think most people don't know how to work on their marriage or their relationships, for that matter, enough. I think that it's easier for people to throw in the towel than it is to do the work. And the underlying message to everything I do when I coach is it takes work. You want to be successful at anything, you got to work. And my son said to me yesterday, I want to get a job. I'm like, you're 13. What do you want to do? And he was like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, you have to work, kid. Like, you got to do it. And so
I like that he was asking.
He was
That's
asking.
cool.
We've got a bunch of really good ideas, and he's, whatever. But, I think people are disposable. I think we think that life is disposable, and it really isn't. And if you're surrounding yourself with people that you want to be with, then you have to do the work and make sure those relationships are sustained.
Because what else do you have other than love,
Nothing.
relationships, friendships? I mean, that's what it all comes down to.
Right. I mean, it's nice to have a nice car and a nice house and a nice thing, but if you're sitting in there by yourself, it's an awfully lonely existence.
Those clients that pay me a lot of fees or whatever, they're not coming to my funeral. They're not coming to even visit me when I get sick.
No, probably not.
Probably not. I'm not even sure my kids and my wife coming to see me.
I'm pretty sure they'll show up.
Man, I better check on that. Probably have to negotiate that now.
I'll come.
Yeah. My daughter's so upset with me now. I got to work out of
Why? Let's talk about it.
Because in my new book, I definitely put some things about her in there. One of them was underage drinking, which who has
We all do.
underage drinking? I'm like, if you didn't underage drink, something be wrong with you. You should be a proud spokesperson for underage drinking. And by the way, I'm not suggesting that, please, if you're out there. But
Right.
I understand that happens.
Of course.
As long as you do it responsibly. But so my daughter's in, there's about 3 different chapters she's in.
Oh, God.
And I love my daughter to death, so I probably went a little overboard with her. She's like, Dad,
Too much.
I want royalties. You didn't even ask my permission. I'm not going to sue you,
That's amazing.
but I want royalties, and I'm not kidding.
And I'm not kidding.
happy about this. We're going to have to talk about this.
Oh, you're in trouble.
And I'm like, something? My daughter has now moved from being a child to a full-blown out adult that I now have to start
How old is she now?
26.
Oh, she's a full-blown adult.
She's a full-blown adult.
She needs royalties.
Yeah, I'm going to
Dad.
have to start sending her some more checks. I'm sending her, I can't do enough, but I'm happy to send her more. But, it's funny how sometimes you take for granted a little bit of sometimes the people around you.
Of course.
And maybe I did that in this case.
I
did
think we all do
apologize,
that
but,
on
yeah.
some level, right?
Yeah.
You think everything's going to be there. Somebody said that about, I put a piece in here about how loving your body in the first half of the book is about loving yourself and learning how to really have a good relationship with you first. And there's a body love section in here. And, one of my girlfriends called and said, I think your mom might be a little bit offended. And I'm like, why? And she said, because, my parents, when we were growing up, were not the most health conscious people, right? My dad had a heart attack when he was 55. He didn't change his ways. He passed away when he was 71. I personally think that we could have changed that had he decided to make changes to his diet and his exercise and all the things, right? So my mother and I have had this conversation on multiple occasions. It's a bone of contention with us, probably. And I wrote about it in the book because it's a thing for me. Their example is not what I'm choosing to do for my life because I've seen what scared me straight. I don't smoke. I don't like none of the bad stuff, right? So, I feel like
my mom was over 400 pounds for a good amount of my childhood. You know what that kind of impact that has on me as far as me, God forbid, being a little overweight.
It's crazy what it does to you.
Yeah. A lot of what happens to you as a kid carries forward. I was thinking about this yesterday. I have a basketball court in my house, and I was talking about this with a guy I was shooting around with. He's like, so I gotten these 2 new basketballs that a coach of mine sent me. And he's like, you really need 2 more basketballs. And I said, yeah, I guess it's a little overkill. I have maybe 100 about 100 basketballs in the gym, just in the gym.
Of course.
Over 100.
Right.
And I said, I don't think I have enough balls. Like, I don't think I have enough basketballs. Like, and I guess it's because when I was a kid, we would have to search high and far to find one good ball.
Right.
And in my delusionally sick mind, I think that I need to keep making sure I have all these balls because we're not going to have one.
You're going to have all the balls.
So not true.
You have all
and
the
then
balls.
I said, there's a reason why I probably have 200 pairs of basketball shorts from different teams that I wear.
Yes.
And it's excessive. But I always felt like when I wanted to go play, I always wanted to wear cool shorts because, when you go play in the schoolyard, you got to look good. And I never really had the cool shorts.
Right.
So I never want to go and play with my friends or whatever and not look good. And I said, imagine these are just 2 stupid things that carry over to me as a child, now to an adult.
Sure.
Imagine all the other stuff.
Yeah.
That's carrying over.
I mean, that's just superficial stuff. Like the stuff that's in here, that stuff lasts a long time.
And that's what I try to pinpoint in the book. And I think you're getting into it in this book, too. Is like life is an inside job.
It is
and
an
a lot of
inside
stuff
job.
that happens to you, I call it the negative energy trap. It stays there forever.
Yeah.
Imagine like 100 stupid freaking basketballs.
Yeah.
I mean, you need one ball.
One.
But that was a crazy thing that happened as a kid. We never had a ball to play with. I'm wondering how many other things are stuck in here.
There's probably a
that
lot
I'm living
there.
through because of stuff that happened, shit happened as a kid.
And you probably work it out through your marriage and your friendships and your parenting and all the things, right? So it's like a manifestation of stuff that you've held together that we always want more for our kids. We always want more for our relationships. We always want more for everything because we didn't have something or our parents didn't have something, or my mom used to always say, I always wanted more for you than I had, which I guess, is a nice thing to say, but it's not about the stuff, right? And I think as a society, we became a little bit unglued.
Yeah.
For a few generations, it's all about the stuff, and everybody was hoarding and having the big houses and driving all the cars and wearing all the bling and doing all the stuff. And if that stuff makes you happy, then that's great. But you can't take that. You're not taking that to the grave with you, right? And you have to really focus on the people that you want to be around. It's important.
I always think about when I try to focus with my kids. I said, listen, let me explain to you how I got this stuff. Let me tell you about this process because it was a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Now, whether you want this or not, I don't know. But this stuff, if it's mean to you that you like this stuff,
right?
Let me tell you how you get it.
You got work.
It ain't sitting around hanging out playing Sony PlayStation. Although I was wrong on that. I always told my kid, you never make a living playing Sony PlayStation. I'm like,
good God,
these kids are making a fortune on
Fortnite.
Sports.
It's all they play.
So I was a little off on that prediction. But I like to show. I always try to show my kids the good, bad, and ugly, and how I went about putting food on the table. I would take them to meetings. I would take them to negotiations. I remember telling my daughter I was negotiating with the Yankees. I said, Nicole, I think she was 11, so I brought her to this big negotiation, GM of the Yankees. And I said, Nicole, just so you know, you may not be coming home with me today.
I might leave. They might want you.
Kill your dad. They may want my firstborn. I may have to trade you out to get this deal. I don't know what they're going to ask for. And she's like, really, Dad? I said, listen, this is not a joke. I've been preparing for this meeting for months. I don't know how it's going to go. This doesn't always go the right way, but you got to go all in on it. And I want you to see what.
Yes.
And it was great for her to see. Like, I try to bring my kids to those things.
It's really important. I did that. I left my job 4 years ago.
What were you doing?
I worked at Verizon. I was in corporate for 16 years, and I didn't want to do it anymore. So fine, I quit, and it was fine.
Is it just like that, or
no? There was
because you got to be a little scared, no?
There were a few catalysts to the situation and some pushes along the way that made me
Were you
look.
Scared?
Yeah, it was like
watching
absolutely. It's one of the scariest things, and that's why I do this, because I know that yes, fear exists, but there is something on the other side of fear, and there is faith. And if you have faith in yourself and you have faith in, the people around you and your support system, you really can do anything. I mean, I started this whole coaching thing with 0. And my kids have seen me cry on the floor because I don't have any clients, and I'm going to do this, and how am I not going to write this book, and I'm spending all my money, and I had all this, right? And if you don't let them see that and they don't see how hard you're working, then they're just going to, think that everything gets handed to them all the time.
Well, that's extremely courageous to be vulnerable like that, but that's how your kids can really grow and know.
Yeah.
You want your kids to grow, they got to know.
They got to know. Like, they have to know that none of this is easy.
Yeah, they got to know the truth. They got to see you at 3 a.m,
Right. Like, last night, my little one was like, can you lay with me? And I was like, I can't lay with you. I have to go watch some Project X things, and I have to go answer some emails, and I did some stuff all day, and I just need to go get my stuff done. I had just spent the last 2 hours with him, so I didn't feel like I wasn't being a good parent, because I do turn my stuff off and focus on my kids, between dinner time and bedtime. But
the transition, I'm more curious about the transition, because there's a lot of people trying to transition. You, in a sense, what I love about you is you got entrepreneurial.
I did, and it's hard.
And you didn't feel you were too old or it was too late or whatever. You got entrepreneurial, which is not easy.
Not easy.
The transition, was it the support from your husband or your family? Was it just you just digging in and saying, I got to do this?
I think it was a combination of that. I left that job, and I really honestly didn't know what I wanted to do. So I took some time off, and then I reached out to a career services company to get my resume updated and do all the things, and we had all these interviews and job opportunities lined up, and not one of them was floating my boat. I was like, I don't want to do any of this. I don't want to do it.
I think sometimes your list of what you don't want to do does ultimately help you with maybe some what
you do want to do.
Yeah.
And so the coach I was actually working with was like, I've never said this to anybody, but I'm gonna say it to you. You need to go be a coach. And I was like, what are you talking about? That's a thing? And she was like, of course it's a thing. So I went back to school. I got certified to be a professional life coach. I did the whole thing by the book. I didn't just hang my hat and say I can coach you. It took a year.
Wow.
Which was fine, and it was great. And so, I had saved some money. I had my severance package. I was getting all my stuff. And so, and I remember getting down to a final negotiation with a really big company for a job. And I was sitting in the kitchen, and my husband got up and he was like, why do you look so upset? I was, tears and all the whole thing, because I'm a girl and all that stuff. And I said, I know they're going to offer me a job, and I don't want it, because I want to go start my own business and be a coach, and I want to help other people be better, and I want to help them get through transitions like this, because I know I can do it. And he was like, okay, then go do it. And that, it was, for as simple as that sounds, it was probably a hard,
when your spouse is behind you, with that level,
without question,
it's such a big deal.
Without question.
I think you underestimate the kind of effect you have on a good friend or your spouse or a family member, because it's everything.
I was like, what? And he was like, you can't not do this. Like, I can see it in your face.
I can see you.
I do. I get very emotional because it's, it is a big thing. It's when you don't have that, and there are a lot of people out there that don't have it, and so that for me is, finding your faith in yourself to do it, and then convincing everybody else that you can do it.
I remember when my wife had gotten the year severance, we were just getting started, and she's a CPA, Wharton grad, University of Chicago, smart. The smartest employee we've ever had here, including myself. But, at the end of the day, she was having a hard time understanding what I was trying to create. It was very entrepreneurial, what we were doing at Steiner. And I just remember her walking into my office, and we were about 9 employees at the time, 8 employees. We were just scraping, and really my wife was really supporting us.
Right.
Which is pretty brave of her to begin with. Like, you do your thing, I got us.
Yep.
Which I was very grateful still to this day that she had the faith. But she walked in and said, listen, I got to tell you, I think you got something here. It's taken me a while to figure out, but you got something here. I could see what's going on. You are going to have to, there's a thing called a network. You have to kind of get your computers talking to each other.
Right.
You're definitely going to have to hire a receptionist, and you cannot lick the stamps off of unused envelopes of how you mail things to save 15 cents. Which she thought that was funny, but we used to do the fan mail for the players. We used to do the fan mail for the players. So I'd have the interns take the stamps off the unused envelopes and to save money. So you got to get a stamp machine, and there's a few other things.
Make a little investment.
You're just starting off.
It's hard. Every dollar. Even now, it's like I've spent all my money to do this book. I didn't take clients for the last 3 months, so now it's like it's not almost starting over, because there's more opportunity coming from other avenues. But I knew that I wanted to get this out, and I knew it was important, and I knew that, it'll work out. Everything always works out. I have faith in that.
So if you were to say to one particular type of person, you must read this book, Why Am I Yelling? Like, who's that person that has to read this book?
I would have said 2 weeks ago that every mother on the planet, every woman on the planet needs to read this book. But now, two of my girlfriends ordered it and they got it. And I called my friend Adrienne. I was like, did you get the book? And she was like, I got it, but I can't read it because my husband won't put it down. I'm like, wait, what? And she's like, he will not put it down. And then I had another friend call me and was like, I mean, every guy needs this book. Like, I've learned so much. And I'm like, what? Really? So, I think any person who wants to have a successful relationship with their friends, with their kids, with themselves, with their wife, with their partner, whoever, needs to read this book.
Probably need to study it. Yeah.
Go read that book.
Those, yeah.
That's for you. I'll sign it.
I appreciate that. So you enjoy the process? It was kind of scary when you get out there and you go into a bookstore and you see so many books. That's what gets me crazy.
So
I'm like,
scary.
Where is my book going to fit in all these books?
So I think this one is a little bit different in that it talks about all the relationships that you have in your life. So in this here, I talk about relationships I have with my friends that are platonic men, right? And why those relationships are important. I need my guy friends to be able to go to the bar and watch the baseball game because that's what I like to do. My husband's not necessarily a sports guy. He cannot.
Like to go to a bar and watch baseball games? I mean, who are you?
Love
man?
Sports. Like, I bleed blue for the New York Giants. But don't tell them for the last 2 seasons because I can't right
you
now.
Have faith, though. You know that.
I do. Of course
Come on.
Of course they will. They always do.
So you go to a bar, hang out with a bunch of guys and watch baseball and football.
Yeah. And now I have a 13-year-old kid who yells at the TV with me. But
that's cool.
It's fun.
There's been a lot of role reversals, I think, over the last 10 years, with men, women in general.
Sure.
And the stereotypes, you can just throw them out the window.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, my dad was a huge sports fan, and so my whole life I was going to Rangers games and Giants games and all that stuff.
So you know the deal.
Yeah.
You can talk it, you can walk it.
Oh, yeah, it's so fun.
You understand it, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife would pay me all kinds of money not to have to go to another game. And it's funny, but I enjoy that because, I'm excessive. I go to a lot of games, and I go to less games because of that, and I go to more Broadway and more ballet. So you got to,
diversify.
So it's a good mix. What's next for you?
So I have a course coming out around this in February.
Where's that course?
It is going to be live.
Oh, really?
It's a 6-week course. It's video all on Zoom. So I'm taking 20 people.
Wow.
And we're going to...
Is those 20 already registered?
Not yet. I haven't opened it yet. I'm actually opening it today. Today on my website. And look at this.
This is what I'm talking about.
I figured this would be a good spot, make the announcement.
Well, listen, I think a lot of people that do watch this always looking to expand,
Yeah.
Learners are earners, my favorite word. But,
I love that.
And I think that you can't learn enough about the unobvious stuff. The thing that's the problem I have is that most people are focused on the obvious stuff.
Yep.
But I say, listen, get in better shape, eat better, sleep better, recover better, treat your wife or spouse better.
Right.
Matter of fact, double down on that. Be the most unbelievable parent and watch you go even make more money you've ever made.
Yeah, like if everything's clicking, it's all going to be fine.
And on top of it, if the money grab's important to you, you can even make more money.
You can.
Because you don't want to come home with a lot of money and there's nobody home to share it with.
No.
Right? So this course is going to be about all the relationships?
Yes, so we're talking about the essentials. We're going to do 1 week each. It's all live. You're going to get 2 free books. You're going to get all kinds of workbooks through it. You're going to get all kinds of stuff. And it really is, it's a group coaching course, and I'm taking 20 people. And I really want it to be meaningful and a lot of learning happening. And I want people to walk out of there feeling like, oh my gosh, I love myself so much more, and I love all my people so much more.
How am I going to find you?
You're going to find me at WhyAmIYelling.com. That's where the
course
that URL,
is. Right?
Grabbed it. I What do you mean? I own all of it. I own the trademarks. I own the copyrights. I own it all.
So you've learned.
That I'm smart about. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. No, I mean, a lot of people don't think of all these things.
Yeah, no, I trademarked the hashtag.
So WhyAmIYelling.com is where I'd find that information about the course.
The courses are there. Working with me one-on-one. My blog is there. All the stuff is there. The book is there. You can buy it off the website from several different retailers. It's all there. All of it.
Last question.
Yes.
Your husband.
Best guy on the planet.
What do you say about the book? What was his honest opinion about the book? Did he feel that? But did he get compromised in this book a little bit, or was he?
No, he definitely didn't get compromised. I mean, listen, I speak the truth, right? We have not had it hasn't been a hard road for us, really. I think we're good at understanding how each other ticks. I think we were good at that before we got married. We were together for 4 years before we got married. We lived together the whole time. Nothing was new to us, right? When we walked down the aisle. But I do think that, having kids and finances and all that stuff always comes into play, and there's always a little bit of tension sometimes around things.
And you talk about that in the book a little bit, how that kind
yeah,
of
I mean, I talk about, how it hasn't always been easy. Our communication, it's gotten better. It hasn't always been stellar.
You know how guys are. I mean, we have to learn. We're not the greatest communicators. You call my daughter, it's 30 minutes. You call my son,
it's 27 seconds.
27 seconds. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I have 2 sons. I know. I don't have a daughter. I'll have a daughter-in-law maybe one day who will like me, hopefully.
Yeah, she'll love you. Come on. Nothing wrong with having a great daughter-in-law. I'm looking forward to my potential daughter-in-law, but my son-in-law, my kids have good judgment. I'm liking what the kids they brought home. Unlike some of the things I brought home, I don't know what my mother was thinking. It's like, what did I do? Like my mother, usually it was like, I'm not even going to comment on this one.
That's
this is so far-fetched. Like, I'm not going to even give you my opinion because I don't want to sway you one way or the other of this insanity.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Or like, where did you find this person?
Oh yeah,
like down in the Bowery, or like, is this person homeless? And what's?
I want to know what these people were. What are you talking about?
My mother questioned.
It's amazing.
There was nobody good enough for our son anyway. There's no
well,
way
that's a whole different conversation.
Anybody I brought home was always all of us was always a problem.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. That's awesome.
Good. Well, good luck with the book. Love this. If you want to get a hold of you, best way, go to
my website. You can book a call. You can do all the things through there.
Love that. This seems. You know what I like about this book, and I don't mean to sound like a guy, but it seems like a nice, short, tight little book.
We are not curing anything.
I prefer a lot more pictures in my books. But,
you want pictures?
Well, I struggle with the reading, but this book seems like short.
I'm going to do an Audible. You can listen to it.
Yeah, I like that.
I haven't done that
yet. She got the nice voice. I like this nice short book. I'd probably read this pretty much on one.
Yeah. Listen, it's an easy read. I didn't want it to be War and Peace, right? And there's more coming, right? So this was the first in a series, and then we're going to move into the rest of them.
WhyAmIYelling.com. Krista Rizzo.